Hello guys, and welcome to our backend web development course. In this class, we are going to be talking about downloading Node and installing it, and then running your JavaScript files using your Node terminal. So before now, we knew JavaScript as a language of the web. That means before you can run JavaScript, you need to run it in a browser, and it was associated mainly with front-end codes. But things have changed. You can now run your JavaScript without a browser. That means it's browserless, and that also makes it can work like several other programming languages that you have known before now, like C++, Java, PHP, Python, and the likes. So let me show you what I mean by your front-end JavaScript code runs in a browser. This is our front-end folder. I can easily open a new terminal from this. I'm using a Mac by right-clicking and clicking on New Terminal Folder. And from my terminal, if I do code space dot, it should open my Visual Studio Code editor if you already have that installed on your machine. Now, take a look at this front-end code. There is an index.html page that says this is a front-end page, and then there is a dummy.js file that logs I am a JavaScript code running in a browser. To be able to run this log, we need to import this file into our HTML code. What that simply means is your JS in front-end is dependent on your HTML. That means if there is no HTML to import this JavaScript file, it can never run. And for you to see the contents of its log, or for it to even run and manipulate whatever code you want it to manipulate, you need to run that particular HTML file in a browser. So I have Live Server installed on my code editor, that's Visual Studio Code. If you would like to do that, well, this is not a front-end course, but let me just show you. You can go here, go to Settings, Extensions, and download Live Server. So I right-click on this HTML code, open with Live Server, and see it running in the browser. Now, when you inspect this browser page, you right-click and you inspect. In your console tab here, you would see I am a JavaScript code running in a browser. These content that we logged here. So for this JavaScript code to run, we needed to depend on an HTML file that needs to run in a browser, and then we can see its content. This is front-end JavaScript code. But things are better now. You do not need a browser to run JavaScript code. This is where Node.js comes in. Node.js is a runtime environment for JavaScript. Some sort of server, if you say, where you can run your JavaScript code. Node.js is simply taking the Chrome V8 engine of the browser and using it to run your code without showing you a browser view. It's called browserless. More like you taking the engine of a car to run something without you seeing the car. But under the hood, it is running with the engine of the car. Does it make sense? So yeah, depending on your OS, you download Node, Windows, Macs, and Linux. I use Mac, so I click on this. I go to downloads. I already have it downloaded, but for the sake of this tutorial, let's just walk through it again. And then when it's finished, I can open, and then I walk through all the installation process. For the sake of this tutorial, I would not be installing it because I already have it installed. Once you have your Node installed, you can go to your terminal and type in node space -v to check your Node version. If it shows you a version here, then you already have Node installed. If not, you need to install your Node. Now, Node.js comes bundled with what we call NPM. NPM is Node Package Manager, and we'll be talking more about it once we start writing our code. It's more like a class captain in the Node ecosystem. Everywhere is so scattered. There are a lot of packages doing several things for you as you begin to write your backend code. You want to format date, you want to format string, you want to send something, you want to receive requests, you want to send response back to an API, a whole lot of things. You want to call an API to get data. These packages are in the Node ecosystem. Node Package Manager would help you manage your own the packages you install from the ecosystem and make your application sane, no matter how big it is. So now, having installed Node.js, let's go back here and create a folder called backend. And like we did for the front end, open a new terminal at the folder and open it in VS Code. Now, to start our backend app development, the first thing you need to do is to use NPM, your Node Package Manager here, to initialize your project. NPM is always used to initialize a JavaScript backend project. NPM init, right? So once you type NPM init, it will show you some options. Oh, sorry, I need to reopen this terminal. It will show you some options. One of the options it will show you is the package name. It's already showing it as backend, so let's just press enter to continue. Version is showing it as 1.0.0. You can always type something else to change it or leave it as default and press enter. Description: this is a backend development tutorial. Then your entry point, index.js, whatever you call it is what it will be. They already gave you a default of index.js, but let's call it main.js so that we'll understand further. Test command, leave it empty for now, leave it empty for now. Author, let me put my name, Damilare Demesor, and then license, leave it as ISC for now. Is this okay? Yes, it's default. Press enter. Now take note, a file has been created here called package.json. Your package.json is like a manifest in a car or in an aeroplane that tells us everything about the app. Now looking at this, you would see that the name of the app is backend, everything we have put in as responses to our command. Now the most important section of this file for now is the script section and the main section. Knowing that this Node app is expecting an entry file called main.js, we need to proceed here and create a new file, call it main.js. Oh, let me rename it please, main.js. Beautiful. Now, like we did in our front-end code, let's log some things in main.js and come back to run it using Node. Let's log, this is our first backend log, and then we'll come back to package.json. We would now need to create a script to run this app. Let's proceed to create what we call a start script. Start, and then let us say node that we installed should run main.js. Now anytime we run start with npm, it will look for this file called main.js and run everything in it. Come back to your terminal. To clear whatever you have on your terminal, you can do Ctrl-L and then come back, run your start script with npm using npm run command. So we go with npm run. Can you see start here? Start. Now when you click npm run start, look at what happens. It shows you this is our first backend log. Can you see? This is our first backend log. Remember, for us to view any log in JavaScript on the front end, we needed to run a browser. I am a JavaScript code running a browser. But for this, we did not need to spin up a browser. It showed up in our terminal. This is the major difference between writing JavaScript as a front-end developer and writing JavaScript as a back-end developer. You do not need a browser to run your code. All you need is your Node.js runtime environment. It uses the same engine as your browser without showing you a browser tab or a browser page or a browser view. So now that we've done this, let's do some play around. Let's log something else, and then have this da 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 da. Okay, then let's log. This is our last backend log. So if you do npm run start again, you would have these are first backend log, da 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 da. These are our last backend log, right? Now, let's go into the beauty of Node and npm. With Node and npm, you can add libraries or packages that you did not write. What do I mean? Normally, to let's say log a date, you need to use the JavaScript date format, JavaScript date method to display a date. But let's say you want the date written in another format that you like, and you don't have time to write the code. I can assure you someone else has already written it. All you need to do is go to npmjs.com, let me confirm, or .org, npmjs.com, and you would see several packages that can help you achieve your goal. So in npmjs.com, this is where developers write their code and save it up for others to use. Basically, let's just look for a package that can help us. Let's look for a date formatter package, right? Let's look for moments. I think moment.js would help us. Just do dates. So when you search dates, it will show you different packages that have the date tag. Okay, let's go with moment.js. Let's enjoy the moment. So once you click on a package on npm.js, you would see the package name and some details about the packages. The most important part is how to install the package, and you can see that you are still using npm to install that package. So here we have npm install or npm high moments. When you do that here, now I want you to take note of your package.json file and also take note of this side. Help me point out the additions you would observe. After running npm install moments, something happened here. It added one package. Now, the dependencies section of your package.json has been added, and this is saying to any other developer or even you or any other automated system that needs to run your code that there are dependencies that this app needs to work, that if they are not available, they have been called in our app, they have been used. If they are not available, they will never run. Our code will never run. So the moment you install a package, it downloads it in a folder we call node modules folder. You can see that it's been added, and when you check, you will see the name of the package you just installed. Can you see it? Yeah. Moment. Makes sense. Now in this moment, this guy has written codes to format dates instead of you having to write it manually again. It will save you time. That's the essence of packages. It will save you time and also make coding easier for you, though it could add some extra kilobytes or extra size to your entire package before you bundle. Okay, so if you go to your main.js now, let's go to the documentation for moment.js. You go to the documentation here, then let's see how to use moments. Okay, so you can require moments from the moments folder in your node modules folder already. Can you see that? Can you see that? You require moment. That means you are saying go to my node modules folder and look for moments, import it here as a code. So it's assumed that all the code here is already added to this line, to this file. Makes sense, right? Okay, so I'm looking for where we can use a format. Yes. So let's log something now using moments. After this date, let's log it in between the two. Let's log moment.format. I will not be teaching much about moment because the idea is not to teach moment today, but just to show you how to import a third-party library and use. We are saying this moment I have, it's a function. I can call it using these two curly braces, and then I can call a method. One of the methods it will return. It's returning several things. One of the, can you see, is a method, right? Format is a method, and if I put LLL, it's going to show the format in a particular way. So let's see how it's going to format today's date if we do this. To clear your terminal, Control L, and then let's run again. Now, we've been using npm run start, but know that it's whatever name you call it that it will bear. Let's assume I call it me, then npm run me is what will run my main.js file and not start anymore. Does that make sense? Now, let me run npm run start, and then you'll see the error is going to throw up for us. It says missing script start, because I told npm to run start. As long as there's a package.json, once you tell npm to run, it will look for package.json, look for a script, and then look for the command script, what the command script is pointing to. So here we no longer have start, we have me. So it's saying missing script start. I can't find start. Then you need to go back and run npm run me. Whatever you call it is what will happen. Now look at the content. We are saying if you do npm run me, it's going to run this command node. Please run main.js. Can you see? And console, this is our first backend log. Now see what moment gave us. You know, probably you would have written like 10 lines of code or 5 lines of code to be able to format your date, the date you have in JavaScript to this format. But with this one line of code, you've added lines of code that someone else has done, and you just got the output and put it in your own code. So moment gave you Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, February 15, a day after Valentine's, and happy Valentine's in arrears for those who had lovers, and for those who didn't have lovers, happy Valentine's too. February 15, 2023, 12:15 p.m. So I believe that you've been able to understand how to install Node, how to install NPM, how to run a JavaScript file using Node, how to install a third-party package, how to use it in your JavaScript file, how to add scripts and dependencies. So if you had another third-party library again, it will show up in this dependencies section of your package.json file. Does that make sense? Yeah. As assessments, please create a folder on your machine, call it backend, and follow through the same process. But instead of calling yours index.js or main.js, call it your name.js in small letters. That's your entry file to your backend app. Do not call your start script start or me. Call it something else. Just play around with this. Then go to npm.js repository and search for packages that do things that are just coming to your head, anything you want to do, and then log them in your main entry file. Run this, do a video of it running, and send to me on whatever communication channel you can reach me, either Slack or Teams or whatever that I've given to you. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day. Bye.